Hi, Don Klassen here. I'm out at the beautiful Pacific Palisades today, named partly after the ocean behind me, well named. I used to live out here until about 8 months ago when a terrible firestorm swept through the town and destroyed about half of it, including the house I was living in. But it's one of the quieter places in Los Angeles, and I thought I'd come out here to introduce you to my YouTube channel named Sound Bible Prophecy. It serves as something of a companion piece with my website, DonaldTrumpAntichrist.com. And in fact, I wanted to name the YouTube channel after the website as well, to start a brand new one. But apparently, the gods of Google consider that to be too nasty or something, and so they shot down the idea. But I did have a kind of legacy channel from a few years ago called Sound Bible Prophecy that I decided to go ahead and use again. I had started this back around the time that Russia invaded Ukraine, I believe, and I paused it for a while. I went through a lot. I had a bout with cancer, lost most of my hair, as you can tell. Financial considerations, different things. And, but I'm doing fine now, even though I'm kind of pushing 80. And when you get older, your mind is not as sharp, your memory is not as sharp. You don't have as much energy and stamina. But I have, since 1975, been called by God to be a teacher of doctrine in the body of Christ with a specialty in Bible prophecy. I've always had a lot of concern about this issue because that it converted me. I was thinking exactly of these issues about, are we at the end of the age or some kind of a age? And I think there's a Hal Lindsey book on prophecy that converted me. And over the decades, I've been very disturbed to find that interest in the subject is waning quite a lot, partly because some people are into the pre-trib rapture and it's something of an academic exercise, these questions of the last days clues and mysteries. And also, even more importantly, because of the influence of dominionism, which is completely, is blowing like a gale force here in the body of Christ right now, a big part of the strong delusion of the last days. But at any rate, I wanted to introduce you to the video, to the channel, and to explain a few things before you go any further. I have been a writer all these years. I've written books, I've written articles, even some creative works. And I like writing, I can control it a lot. But I found out in recent years that people don't like to read anymore. They like videos. And I've never been a very telegenic guy, certainly not now, and never very mellifluous in my speech. In fact, when I was younger, I mumbled a lot. I still kind of slur my words. And I find it hard to just find the energy to talk for an extended period of time without getting quite tired and winded. So, but on the other hand, the hour we're living in right now is so dire, it's so far gone, and there's such a lack of preparation by the church world for what's coming, that I felt it's more important to get information out there right now, rather than worry about the presenter. Because the truth is the star of this channel. Now, on the other hand as well, there's two things I'm very bad at as well, and that's tech and marketing. In fact, I have this joke that if there's a tombstone over my grave, it'll read, "He never knew how to market himself," which is true. And when it comes to tech, I'm even worse. In fact, I seem to be getting stupider the older I get. But so when it comes to making videos, it's kind of tedious to watch an old codger just drone on and on talking about a subject. But I want to promise you that as I get better at tech, at camera settings and lighting and video editing and all these other aspects I will put in images and charts and video clips and the like to make it more interesting. But for now, the videos are going to be a little bit boring. There's going to be two kinds of these videos. One are doctrine videos to teach you about basic concepts of Bible prophecy, because what's out there right now is just not very accurate. I've scanned the internet and other sources to try to find out what people are teaching out there, and I see a few pieces here and there of what I'm saying by people, but I don't see anybody has put it together like I have, or has been quite concerned about the entire vision of the last days, especially the coming of the Feast of Tabernacles and the Great Tribulation, culminating in the return of the Lord of the Tabernacles, the Lord of the harvest, Jesus Christ. And I'm very concerned because I think that this Great Tribulation could start around Passover of 2027, according to my calculations. That's less than 2 years away now. And that means that Jesus Christ will be back here on the earth before the end of the decade. And most people are just not paying attention. In fact, they're quite asleep. And I want to raise your consciousness about this subject and to help you get a model for what will help you to discern events going on around you and what they mean, how they fit into an entire whole. The other kind of videos will be more commentary oriented, and they will probably track with my articles on DonaldTrumpAntichrist.com. And as I think about it, there's so much effort and time and expense that goes into vlogging, into YouTube channels, that I may not have time to do much doctrinal videos. What you can do as an alternative, I've got a textbook called American Babylon, American Antichrist, where I go into all the details of my view of Bible prophecy. And to help you get oriented to that, every question is answered pretty much in that book. I wrote it about 10, 15 years ago, but it's still relevant today. In fact, it's more relevant than ever, it seems. So it's only $10. I would encourage you to avail yourself of it if you want quick answers to the doctrinal questions. Otherwise, I might just have to limit myself to mostly commentary. And there's so much breaking nowadays. It's just incredible. Every day, there's new and more very damnable situations taking place in the world that I think we're missing a lot of the implication of it all. Now, this channel, my website, DonaldTrumpAntichrist.com, and my legacy website, DonClassenSiriusGuy.com, and my textbook are the 4 projects I have so far under an umbrella organization I'm starting called the Tabernacles Foundation, named after the Feast of Tabernacles and the bringing in of a great harvest by a faithful remnant of Christians, found in Revelation 7:9. I'm going to make it tax exempt, and a lot of you are been pushed out of the churches you've been in, or you just dropped out, but you still believe in God and the like, and you don't have a home. I hope to see a spontaneous movement around the world of Tabernacles churches rising up, but it's nothing I can make happen. We'll have to wait and see if that happens. But in the meantime, if you would like to share your tithes and offerings to this YouTube project to get it off the ground, I would sure appreciate it. After that fire back in January, I took it as a big watershed moment in my life and an opportunity to move overseas, which I've been thinking about for some time, considering the re-election of Donald Trump and the expense of living in Los Angeles. I've been here almost 20 years now, and it's very difficult in many ways to live here. So, but I felt after 2 tries that God just didn't want me to do that, and it was a very difficult year so far. But I'm trying to get back on my feet. And so this is what I'm working on right now. I invite you to be a part of it and to keep in touch. Subscribe, like the videos. If you subscribe, I'll try to develop a mailing list and maybe alert you to some new postings and the like, and or different subjects I'm working on, so that everybody can benefit from it and we can be prepared for what's coming ahead. I do thank you for your consideration in these things. If you have any questions, feel free to write to me through the website. You can even call me, and I'd be glad to try to answer them or just talk with you. I thank you so much for your consideration, and may God bless us all.